Welcome, I'm Irene, and today we will look into solutions for spoken test questions. From Educare, I'm Irene Aftabali. Assalamu alaikum and welcome everybody. In today's video, we will look into how to answer spoken test questions. Right now, students are facing speaking tests in many platforms like IELTS, OITC, Duolingo, and many other platforms. And one of the frequently asked questions and a frequent request that I receive is how I can successfully pass my speaking test, what I should do in my speaking test, or what is this speaking test about, what do they want me to say. I also have seen many brilliant students not perform as well as they should in speaking test. I've seen students bring brilliant result in writing, reading, or listening, but not a satisfactory or expected result in speaking. So today's video, we will look into things that we need to understand about this speaking test, what is this English speaking test about, and how one can successfully overcome this English language speaking test. So let's begin. So in today's video, basically, we will focus at things that you need to remember when you're facing a speaking test and things that you need to avoid during an English speaking test. And we will go through steps, simple, very, very simple steps that you can follow for your expected brilliant result in English speaking test. The first thing to do in English speaking test is understanding the question. Often students are so nervous, they're in such a rush that they answer immediately. They hear a question and they immediately start talking rather than actually listening and understanding the question. It's important that you understand what is asked of you. What I'm saying is, when the examiner asks you a question, don't rush. Pause, listen, understand the question, not just hear the words, but understand what is actually the key point. What do the examiner want to know from you? Now, students are trained so much to look for keywords in a question that sometimes students focus too much on the keyword and miss the whole picture. So what I'm saying is when you're facing a speaking test question, listen to the full question. Try understanding the full question. Take as much as you can, take in, and then listen, pause, listen, and then deliver the answer according to the question. Your answer should be directly related to the question. For example, if the examiner asks you, what is your favorite fruit? And you focus only on the keyword fruit, then there is a high chance that you'll start talking about fruit in general and miss the part that the examiner was asking you about your favorite fruit. What is your favorite fruit? If you're asked that question, only answer, what is your favorite fruit? Don't start talking about benefits of fruit or why we should have fruit or what are the famous fruits of your country. The question is, what is your favorite fruit? So understand and deliver your answer according to the question. The next and the very important step is relevance. Stay relevant. Relevant to the question. What is relevance, or what do I mean by staying relevant? Well, often students get distracted or give an answer. They are giving an answer. They talk a lot. They use great vocabulary, great sentence structure, and yet don't get expected scores. Why? Because they give irrelevant answer, unrelated answer to the question. Once you understand the question, you need to prepare an answer that is related to your question, not unrelated or not far related, but directly related to your question. Your answer should be directly related to the question, not distantly related and not completely unrelated. So you need to plan when you ask the question, pause, listen, plan. So you need to plan an answer that is directly related to your question. And it's important that while speaking, there's a big myth that you have to speak a lot. People believe that because it's a speaking test, you should speak a lot. No. Sometimes more is dangerous and less is good. So when you're talking, make sure subconsciously you're not getting distracted. Stay focused to the question. Stay focused to the main point of your answer and main point of your question and answer. Staying focused. Don't talk unnecessarily. Don't bring in unnecessary points. Now the next step is, once you've understood your question, you know what you have to answer, the next important part is planning. How to plan in speaking. Not in every speaking test, students are not given time to prepare their answer or make notes. Some speaking tests are conversational, so it's one-to-one. You're asked, you answer, question, answer. You don't get the opportunity to make notes or write, so you have to do the planning in your head. And for that, there are two things that I want students to remember when you're facing a speaking test for planning. Planning is very important for giving a brilliant answer in speaking test. So plan. How should you plan? Once you've understood the question, make a main point. Relevant, staying related to the question. First thing to do is make a main point. That yes, this is the question. I'm going to start my answer with the main point. What is the main point? Main point is your topic sentence, and it's directly related to your question. So for example, if the examiner asks you what is your favorite fruit, when answering, you should start your answer with the main point that is directly related to your question. My favorite fruit is. Now, some of you may find, this is a question they will never ask in exam. In that case, there's another example. If the examiner asks you, do you like traveling, or are you a person who loves to travel? Your main point of that question should either be, yes, I love traveling. No, I don't love traveling. And that is your first sentence. That's your main point. It is directly connected to your question. So when planning, after you listen to the question, understand it, you need to plan it in your head. And when planning, remember, main point. Your first thing when you're brainstorming, first thing is making a main point. And the next is explaining that main point. Once you have planned, decided what your main point is going to be, now they might ask various types of questions. Do you think equal opportunity, or do you think your country supports equal opportunity for both gender? Now that's a very complicated question, right? So for that question, once you understand, do you believe your country gives equal opportunity to both gender, you can either say yes or you can say no, right? So that is your main point, that yes or no. Once you have set your main point, then you need to explain your main point. So your next part of your planning and next part of your answer should be explaining. Now, how can you explain? You can explain by using either reasons or examples. You can either give reasons for why you believe so, why you think so, why you support so, or you can give examples. So you can do both. You can give both reasons for the answer or for the idea that you believe, support, or like, and you should provide examples for that. So for example, if the examiner asks you, what is your favorite fruit? You say your main topic sentence is, my favorite fruit is. Then you give examples and reason why that fruit is your favorite. If the examiner asks you, have you been to many places, or do you like to explore new places, then your main point should be either, yes, I love traveling to different places, or no, traveling is something I strongly dislike. I have motion sickness, so every time I'm on a bus, train, or a plane, I get very sick, and I do not like that. So you have your main point, you have your reason, and you gave your example. Or, yes, I love discovering new places. I am a big foodie, and whenever I get a chance, I like to travel to new places, learn about new cultures, and try different cuisine. So here again, you are giving a main point answer, then you're explaining your main point, why you like traveling, or you're giving examples of what things you like to do. That is how you should be planning your answer when facing speaking test, different questions in your speaking test. You find your main point is usually given in your question. So just give a direct answer to that question and then build up your answer, build up your sentences, adding reasons and examples. Again, I'm going to repeat something that I have already said. If you haven't noticed, that is that it's a myth. Many people believe that in speaking tests, it is important that you talk a lot, you talk more, you use strong words, complicated words. That's not true. Often, if you talk too much, there's a higher chance of you making mistakes, you incorrectly pronouncing something, or making a grammatical mistake, or being irrelevant, giving irrelevant answer, bringing in points in your answer that are not related to the question. So when speaking, try to stay focused. No need to talk too long. You don't have to talk. You should not be giving one line answer. Obviously, you should not be giving 1 or 2 line answer. Your answer should be at least 3 to 4 sentences long, but you should not be talking for too long. In the section where you're given a cue card, you're asked to talk about a topic on your own. The time for the answer is 2 to 3 minutes. There you need to talk a bit longer than other questions, but again, try to stay concise. That is, stay focused to the main point, and you're supporting examples and reasons, but make sure that you don't get distracted. Don't keep bringing in points. Don't keep bringing in more informations. You need to remember that it's like a journey. You start with the main point, you explain your reasons, and you give examples, and then you need to end that journey. So make sure that journey is short. Again, things that you have to remember and should avoid in a speaking test. You must remember to use great vocabulary, that is rich words. Now, when I say rich words, it's not necessary that you have to use big words, complicated words. You should be using words that are suitable for that answer, that are standard suitable. Also, what people try to do is they try to use unnecessary synonyms. Now, not all synonyms go with the situation. Another myth that many people believe is when facing a speaking test, you should be using only formal language. No, it's not mandatory that you have to use formal language. You should avoid using informal language. Not completely informal, but you should be using a casual language, because the test is about evaluating your English conversation skills, communication skill. So don't use too formal words. Use casual words, but rich and standard words. Use linking words when you're broadening the idea of your answers after main point. When you're explaining your main point, giving examples and reason, try to use linking words. You can also use linking words when you are actually in middle of the answer, but you are brainstorming and you want to fill that gap, rather than don't let silence take over. It's completely all right. After hearing the question, if you take a pause, if you take your time, you pause, you listen, and then you start talking. But once you start talking, don't take pause in between. Don't take a pause longer than a minute. But if you need to, sometimes, suppose you forget your next line and you're still making it up. So put in a linking word in there and fill that gap. Also, when you're giving examples and reason, use linking words to continue the fluency. Linking words show that you have fluency in your speaking. So always try and use linking words. But avoid, do not blabber. Don't blabber. Don't go like, also, I also think, Don't do that. That is such a bad, it puts such a bad impression. So rather than using these, you can use linking words, you can continue the fluency. Things that you need to remember is that this test, English speaking test, is the goal of the English speaking test is to evaluate your English knowledge, your ability and skill to express your thoughts and feelings using English language, your ability to understand English language. So it is completely fine if you don't know something. Not knowing is all right. You don't have to know everything. The test is not there to evaluate your general political or science knowledge. It's there to evaluate your English language knowledge. So if you're asked a question that you have no idea about, a question, a topic, when you're asked to talk on your own, and if you're given a topic that you have no idea about, for instance, if you're asked, do you think space tourism should be allowed? Or do you think space tourism should be allowed? Or if a question is asked, for example, do you think rats should be used for medicine testing? Now, suppose you're somebody who stays away from all science knowledge or information. You don't know anything about space or medicine. So you're someone who doesn't have any idea about this topic. If you start talking about this topic without any knowledge, definitely you'll make mistakes, definitely you'll blabber, definitely you won't be able to give a good answer for your expected results. So what should you do? Well, be honest. Tell the examiner, I'm extremely sorry, but this topic is something that I have no idea about. I'm not a person who reads a lot about space or have enough knowledge about space. So I cannot really say whether space tourism should be allowed or not, as I have no idea about it. So see, you are saying that you don't know about this topic, but you're expressing your view you're expressing the fact that you don't know using the English language, which they want to justify, which they want to evaluate. That is what that is what the exam is about, whether you can express yourself using the English language. So often I hear students, they don't answer a question completely, and after the exam they're like, well, they asked me this and I didn't know anything about this topic. What was I supposed to say? If you don't know about anything, if you're given a topic to talk that you have no idea, just say that I don't know anything about it, because the examiner wants to evaluate your English language, your speaking skills. Saying that, remember again, I'm repeating, it's very important to remember these 3 steps, and that is when you are facing English language test, first, when the examiner asks you a question, don't jump into the answer. Pause, listen, plan. Stay calm, stay focused, speak loudly when you're answering the question. Speak loudly, speak clearly. It's not necessary you have to have an accent, but try to pronounce the words correctly. Speak clear and loud. I will be making more videos focused on this topic. I will be making more videos on sample answers. I'll be making videos for commonly asked question in speaking test, and I'll provide some sample answers. So if you are someone who's going to be facing an English language test very soon, and you're getting cold feet about the speaking test, and you want some more knowledge, you want help with some commonly asked question in speaking test, you want to know how you can answer them, you need sample answers, you should stay tuned. If you have yet not subscribed to Lead Educare channel, it's high time you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the bell button, and I hope you all like this video. I hope this video helps you all to get over the fear of speaking test or make a brilliant answer for your coming speaking test. If it did, then do let me know in the comment section below. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe. Thank you. This is Irene Aftab Ali from Lead Educare. For today, signing off. Bye bye.